Hello and welcome to Horrid Wizard and Friends. New intro. This week we are bringing to you the best deals in local supermarkets. And I just want to let you know that innocent smooth orange juice and also banana jammy dodgers are available at a discount in farm foods. And furthermore, Ryvita sweet onion packs are available at a discount in Aldi. And see, I've got an uncle who watches this show, who is very good at spotting these deals, and he texts them to me. And I thought to myself, you know what? Even if I don't benefit from them, maybe somebody will. So
I reckon I do think that you should go for the Ryvita because it should help you reduce the amount of calories you take in.
Yes, Babar. Well, look, I'll give you a few calories later on. But anyway, look, in these hard times, because energy and fuel prices are at a record high in this country, I think that we should do our bit to help the average man, don't you think, Barbara? I'm going to try
Absolutely.
I'm going to collate all of these deals every week and bring them to the viewers so that we can do our bit for society. And, you know, considering that the other day it was a bit chilly, and I shat my pants thinking I've got to put the heating on for half an hour because I was going in the shower. I think that these are indeed hard times. Average fuel tank price is over 100. I think today beat a record over £100. So look, if we can bring banana jammy dodgers at a discount to people, then I would say that I've done my job.
It's quite funny that you started this on a consumer advice like theme for today.
Yeah.
Because apparently even fucking Poundland, the store, are giving advice on how to beat the the tough times, and they made an announcement today by people are cutting back on even the essentials. Now, if Poundland are giving this kind of advice, then shit is really bad, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I think shit is very bad. By the way, can you hear me? Are the speakers all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Otherwise, why do you think I was so quiet for the first 5 minutes of this show? Because you were talking a lot, which I actually heard.
It's not talking, Barbara. It's show notes. As you can see, this piece of paper is all the preparation that I do all week. And what have I got here?
My show notes are in my phone right here.
Yeah, see, I'm a little bit more analog than you. For example, this note here says simply, "The naked man fears no pickpocket." And you know, it's for wisdom like this that people watch this show, Barbara.
Well, how was your week? Well, it all depends where you're hiding that jewel, Babar.
That is true, actually. And any viewers of these daytime TV shows where they show customs officials in airports around the world will know that there are many places that a naked person could indeed hide a multitude of things.
However, there is like a jewel that I have gifted you that I like you to keep very, very safe all the time. I'll text you that later.
Yeah, maybe you should. I'm just off the way. Anyway, Babar, listen. I think some congratulations are in order because on the occasion of Platty joobs, as the horrible term was coined. The platinum jube. Yeah, platinum.
Platty jube sounds like somebody who hasn't trimmed somewhere around the private area.
It does. It was trending on Twitter. Everybody hated it. I think China were happy because I assume that they make all the bunting. I can't think of any bunting makers in Great Britain at all. And Andrew conveniently got COVID. That was good, isn't it? Although I do believe that maybe like Philip's ghost is just alive in Andrew's body. That's a theory I have. That's maybe a discussion for another time. You know, this piece of news here, it said Queen's courtiers banned coloured immigrants or foreigners from serving in clerical roles in the royal household, according to newly discovered documents. The documents shed light on how Buckingham Palace negotiated controversial clauses that remain in place to this day, exempting the Queen and her household from laws that prevent race and sex discrimination. The papers were discovered at the National Archives as part of the Guardian's ongoing investigation into the royal family's use of an arcane parliamentary procedure known as Queen's consent to secretly influence the content of British laws. So there we go, Babar. Just to let you know,
I find that quite hard to believe because there was a lovely coloured float going down the parade during these Jubilee weekend celebrations.
You're not talking disparagingly about Meghan, are you, Babar?
Because, we
don't use that terminology anymore in 2022.
You take that statement whichever way you want, really. But I did see a lot of color down the mall. So yeah, so I don't see why that's a problem.
Yeah, no, they do tend to roll out a few Commonwealth types, don't they? Every now and then. I have got a game for you, Barbara, that you'll probably enjoy. But have you got anything for me before I start playing a game?
Yeah, I have. I've got quite a few things. Apparently, I read an article today that during these tough times, all these articles are coming out and how you can save money and how you can do this and how you can do that. So this one really got me because house prices are really, really, really like extremely high right now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the article was how you can buy a house with 16K a year. So I thought to myself, that fucking journalist, wasted a
That's a
lot
bit of
of time.
clickbait right there, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
if any elder viewers are watching, don't click on these things when they come in your inbox. Yeah,
yeah, do you know
it'll
what I
be a
mean?
virus.
And so I said my answer to that was you can't buy a house with 16K a year salary. You
Mhm.
can't do it. It can't be done. I'm sorry. And I just quickly closed that article. I didn't even read it, to be fair. Like who writes these?
Normally,
I
when
don't
I
even
do
know.
click on these articles, what they say is they talk about this whole rigmarole of how they saved and how they went without this and that, and how they found ways to get discounts and how they put away as much as they could. And then somewhere about 2/3 of the way, normally they say, and we also got a £50,000 gift from my grandparents. And then they just carry on the article as if, yeah, this is like a normal thing to happen, and then it's fine,
Absolutely.
and it just and it be,
Uh, on that note, I now have the right to buy. So I think Boris Johnson announced this week that he's going to give 4 million people the right to buy property in the UK or the first time home buyers or whatever it might be. So I'm thinking about putting a bid for one of these oligarch mansions that are up for sale.
Well, if we wait for that, because remember last time when Gaddafi got sanctioned and he had a mansion in London, like they all have, and there were some squatters in there that went and just occupied the mansion straight away when they heard about it. And really, as far as I remember, nobody actually tried to evict them because the owner was, I think at
Well, it
that
didn't
time,
exist at, well,
yeah, he
probably
was
on the run.
either in very great peril or dead, and so nobody gave a shit. And the squatters, I don't, for all I know, they could be still living in Gaddafi's mansion. So good luck to them. Is that the kind of idea you had? Are you going to go through the list of oligarchs, see where they're sort of Park
No,
Lane?
really, I was actually going to do a proper, transaction, and apparently property's hitting its 3 week peak in the peak in 3 weeks. Sorry, so I
Yeah.
might as well put an offer in straight after that. What you reckon?
Is it like how the Glazers bought United, whereby they they bid for?
Fuck the Glazers, Barber. Fuck them. Everything bad is always comes back to the Glazers. I don't like them.
It does, but I mean, it's amazing how they bought that club, because obviously it was the most, it was rated as the most or the second most valuable club in the world at the time. They they made a bid for it of, I think, 600 or 700 million, which at the time was again a record. And then the bid was accepted because it was a good bid. Then they took a bank loan for pretty much the entire amount, um, bought the club because they had the money, and then transferred the loan onto the club. So
That's how you do business.
yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, in a way, that is how a mortgage works. I can't really see anything wrong with that.
They actually haven't done anything wrong,
But there was
and I don't know
something that
why
didn't
you
quite agree
supporters.
with the supporters. I can't think what it is. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is there. It's just absolutely fine. I think they've got a good rate on the mortgage from Nationwide, probably.
Yeah, yeah, and they keep doing refinancing. Like I remember when we issued shares in Singapore, like Man United, or they floated on some kind of American stock exchange. I thought to myself, it's a fucking football club, man. What the hell's going on here? But anyway,
Well, the
yes,
thing, the thing we've learned of recent weeks is that no amount of money will ever buy you the success that Real Madrid have.
that's true. And we also learned that money doesn't seem to be quite real either. I mean,
It's
it
just
seems to be
numbers
about as
floating
real
about.
as the cryptocurrencies, the usual money. That they're trying to explain why, petrol being a lower price in dollars per barrel now than it was in, say, 2009, still
I,
leads to a higher petrol cost at the pump. And I didn't fucking understand.
I'm sorry. It seems that I've tuned into Peston on Sunday. I don't know why what that's happened.
I'm very worried about my fuel cost. Okay, look, I mean, look,
For fuck's sake, shut the fuck up and stop complaining about the way the world
I'm,
is because
I make a lot of food for myself using gas and electricity. That's all I can
yeah, this
say
is
about
true.
it.
This is very true. Right.
Yes, Babar. So the few things that because we haven't broadcast for about 2 weeks now. So
No, we
there
haven't.
are a few things that we missed. One was the Monaco Grand Prix, which was almost a washout, and then it wasn't a washout.
It was shit. So basically, the Monaco Grand Prix, I was looking forward to because, as you know, I'm a big I love F1, and I think the greatest ever F1 driver of all time is good old Michael Schumacher.
Sorry, are you just saying things that people who don't know about F1 say? Because like the way you said, I love F1. It reminds me of people who they come in and it's a World Cup game and they say, "Oh, is Brazil playing? I love Brazil."
It's not as bad as saying, "Oh, is this the UEFA Champions League final? I want Brazil to win it." I've had that as well. Yeah, come on, it's not that bad.
So try and
But
sound a little bit more knowledgeable about F1.
I love F1. We talk about it all the time. We talk about how the cars have changed over the years, and I was really, really looking forward to the Monaco one because I think it's the highlight of the F1 calendar.
Yeah, what we don't talk about as much is how you designed the logo of the company that tried to buy F1 and failed. But that's for another day, isn't it?
Well, they didn't try to buy F1. They tried to buy Force India. But anyway, that's what happens in those circles. A lot of the branding there is just there for the sake of the car.
All right, sorry, don't get distracted. Go on, back to your story.
Yeah, so I read a tweet by Jeremy Clarkson at the time. He's saying this fucking Monaco Grand Prix is shit. Let them drive. And then his next tweet was, "That was all right, wasn't it, when you let them drive?" So I thought, you know what, have I missed out on something?
Yeah, no, one of the nice things is that cars can follow each other closely. I think that's probably the biggest improvement. But one of the main things that I realized when I was watching the Monaco Grand Prix is how uncool rich people are. So, like normally when they show the gantries of these, Formula One events, you see members of the public, and obviously some of them, they would have to be reasonably wealthy to be able to afford to go to F1, etc., etc. I won't get into that, but they just seem to be regular folk having a good time. In Monaco, they just seemed like extra lame. They were just like, even the way they were cheering and celebrating seemed like somebody had just told them how to do it quickly.
They couldn't give an actual fuck. They couldn't give a shit because they probably have more money than the drivers, to be fair.
Well, yeah, if they're in those apartment blocks overseeing the overlooking the track at Monaco, then to be fair, they probably do. Yes, that's absolutely right.
So I would act like that as well. To be fair, like, you are all my slaves. I'm here to watch you. My dad owns the world. Oil. something along those lines.
This reminds me of that quiz that you were doing the other day, where you were asking, everyone was asking each other what car they would buy if money wasn't an object. And I tried to say it was a Peugeot 308 because I really liked them. And I was sadly laughed at by you.
Yeah, what was my answer? You see, I don't think you were paying attention.
Was it a certain special edition of a Maserati or Alfa Romeo, something like that? Was it some Italian car?
You see.
Oh no, yes, I remember what it was. You said, hang on a minute, you said that you wanted to buy a Mercedes S-Class long wheelbase and be driven in it. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. If you had all the money in the world and you could have any car you want, you wouldn't have any car you want because you can have it anyway. You get somebody else to drive you around, and that's exactly
I still want to drive. I think that's a terrible answer.
If I wanted to drive, then I would go racing because that's what proper driving is. I'd do that because I could.
I'm lost, I don't even know how to respond to this. Now my Peugeot 308 answer is looking really reasonable and good compared to yours, where you're saying I'm going to lie down in a sleeping bag at the back of a car and somebody's going to cart me around.
There's something attractive about being driven and having the door open for you, and then your right leg coming out, and then you're just going, oh, yes, and then somebody passing you the paper and welcoming you and greeting you at the door.
I think there's something very disempowering about that, and I'd probably like you'll get muscle wastage from not doing your own shit, Babar. Come on, man.
Nah, you got it all wrong, Babar. This simple life isn't all that. I was going to say,
going back to the royal theme that we started off with, didn't that happen when Meghan Markle first married Prince Harry? She emerged from a car, and I think she shut the car door herself, and that was against received the protocol at the time, the royal protocol. So then it came in the papers as an article, because goodness knows what the fuck people have got to do in their lives.
You've just reminded me of an occasion where I was hosting an event, and it was a very patriotic event, let's just put it that way.
I think I know the event.
Yeah, and it was early in the morning, and some, some very, very fine dignitaries were there from the city, and I was hosting, and I was comparing, etc., etc., and I didn't address the very important individual in the right manner, but the show still went on, and towards the end of the show, this very old gentleman came up to me and he said, "Oi, boy, when you address that man, you address him as such and such a thing. Don't ever do it again." And I went, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah, there is a lot of that still in the world, Babar. What else have we missed? We missed a 3.8 magnitude earthquake in Shropshire. And in the newspaper article, which I'm reading here, it says that there were thuds and shudders felt.
Sounds like domestic abuse to me, mate.
Well, we hope not. One resident said her legs turned to jelly as she felt her bedroom floor shuddering beneath her. I mean, that could just be a really nice...
That sounds like domestic abuse and a very nice night of passion.
Yeah, well, look, I wouldn't really like to conflate the two, because I think they're two very different things. Let's hope that this lady was having a good time generally.
Well, depends on what happened afterwards. Is either, you want to go again, or no. But anyway,
I was going to say, I don't really like to do editing on this. I'm going to have to probably cut out half your shit now, Barbara. God's sake, man. I'll have a word with you afterwards. Right, so anyway, big Alan Partridge jokes.
Sorry, mate.
It's okay, you're right.
It's just one of those days.
Have a good hard look at yourself later. Maybe switch your VPN before you do anything. Yep. So now, so that happened. The last one that happened was Dudley in the West Midlands, 4.7 magnitude in 2002. Do you know when that one happened? I was in Birmingham at the time. I felt that. And I was just entering the toilet and I thought to myself, oh, this seems like it's some kind of earthquake. And I quickly went out of the toilet in case the house fell down and they found me on the shitter. I thought, you know what, that's a bad way to die. And I'm sure, I assume
come on,
somebody...
Man, wouldn't you want to go the same way that Elvis Presley went?
No, and also I thought, maybe, yeah, it's true actually. If you're turking for a shit and you die and you sort of like, you haven't cleared your bowels properly, then presumably you could actually, after the event, shart your pants, which would be probably even more unedifying than being found nicely cleared out on the toilet. So I don't know, that could be an either-or question that you ask people, isn't it? Would you rather?
Would you? Yeah, it could.
Would you rather die empty on the toilet or full, just outside the toilet,
and then have your pants covered in shit when they do the autopsy and things?
Yeah. Why don't you answer that? That's actually a very good
would
question.
I rather? Okay.
Yeah, what would you rather?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go on the toilet.
I was going to say, I still think the stigma of being found in this area,
full of shit, that'll probably go all the way up.
Knowing our community, nobody would attend the funeral. They'd just say there's something wrong with us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think dying with like a pound of shit in because it will be a kebab you would have had the night before more than
most certainly, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it would be that all day long.
I guess it would also probably just matter about the general consistency, but let's not go into that. Anyway, Barbara, do you want to play the game that I have?
Go on then. This is a change for once.
So viewers of the last show, which was I think episode 11, will remember that I mentioned that there's a website that you can type the name of the film into, and it tells you if any of the people associated with either acting in or producing that film have been implicated in any sexual scandals. So it doesn't mean they're guilty. It doesn't mean they're guilty, but it does mean that they've been implicated strongly enough to come in the regular media. So
yeah, maybe this game should be called "Did They or Didn't They?"
Yeah. So that site's called Rotten Apples, and you can just find it by googling it. But would you like to select, say, 3 or 4 films just off the top of your head, and we will find out here live if those people were naughty or not?
Okay. So let's have a look at. We did Usual Suspects last week, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we don't really need to even Google that one. We sort of know about that, yeah.
We already know what happened there.
Oh, but you do get surprises. I mean, you can even do cartoons because ultimately the voice actors are still acting. So you can do,
How about Space Jam, the first one?
Okay, let's see. Space Jam.
Maybe you want to look at soundtrack credits on that one as well, maybe?
Yeah, because well, you see, this is the thing. So it says here, Space Jam. This movie has no known affiliation to anyone with allegations of sexual misconduct against them. Now
Yeah, well, I beg to differ.
I see the problem with this because they obviously now what we can do on this site is that you can submit a correction. So I would encourage you to do that, Babar, because Mr. Robert Kelly was very
No,
famous.
yeah, I think he still needs to get paid for that track.
Yeah, well, he's
Oh.
been, yeah, wasn't he #1 for like 6 or 7 weeks because of that?
That's what I'm saying. That song was so legendary. It was,
So that's a good one. So this is a flaw in the site, but generally it's quite good at the actual.
Okay, let's choose another one.
Choose another
How
one, yeah.
about Moonwalker by Michael Jackson?
I don't know if it does. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Moonwalker. Here we go. Yes, cast / executive producer / choreographer / story, Michael Jackson. And then if you click on the name, it says it's got a link to the LA Times. Woman's suit claims Michael Jackson sexually abused her as a child and paid her $900,000. So this is the kind of thing that this site does. Next film, Babar?
Yeah, so how about
I mean, you don't have to choose films that dodgy people are in, yeah, because then we don't really need to do this. I'm just thinking, think of a film that you think is fine, and let's see if it is or not.
Okay, fine. Here we go. So one of my favorite films that I always watch is Back to the Future.
Okay, yeah, I know how much you love that. Back to the Future, 1, 2, or 3. Which one do you want to go for?
Let's go for the first one because that's the most iconic one.
Fresh Apples. This movie has no known affiliation to anyone with allegations of sexual misconduct against them. If you believe this is an error, please let us know by clicking here. Okay, yeah, we'll have to do that with Space Jam. Right then, Barbara, next one. We'll do two more. We'll do two more.
Okay, so I will say I watched this the other day. Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco. God, you do watch some strange things.
Excuse me, I'm not the strange one here.
Fresh Apples. This movie has no known affiliation to anyone with allegations of sexual misconduct against them. Now that's
yeah. So let me just correct you on this little accusation that I made that I watch some strange films. The films that I watch are legendary. It's just you who will respond to our group text and say, yeah, I'm just watching some cartoons at this particular moment in time.
Yeah, because I think that watching films should be an act of escapism. And I don't think that I think if something is hyper realistic and true to life or based on some kind of known event.
Okay, I'm going to give you another one. Potentially because it's got Vincent Price in it as a cameo role.
Okay, right.
But it's Edward Scissorhands, another one of my most favorite films of all time.
Edward Scissorhands. Okay, so it says here, it's Rotten Apples because of cast member Nick Carter. So let's click on this. Let's see what they say about Nick Carter.
Isn't that one of the Backstreet Boys?
Yeah, so it's a link to a Huffington Post article where he has been accused of rape by Melissa Schumann, who I don't know who that is, if she is famous.
Still a great film. I think you should watch it.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is what we said last week, didn't we?
Separating the art from the
about how there were lots of quite objectionable pieces of art or literature or media that people enjoy routinely. That when you delve into the origins of the opinions of the authors of those things, or the creators.
I've been to Rome and I've seen paintings of naked people, naked men, naked children all over in the Vatican. Whatever they are, they could be angels, they could be anything, but they're all naked with their willies hanging out. Barbara, I don't see how that's
okay. So that somehow is connected. Yeah, that's good, Barbara. That's good. Just say some words, eh? Is that
Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci can get away with it, you know.
Just gotta say some words. Fantastic. Right? Yeah, excellent. So before we go, Barbara,
let me just before we
go to ruin the reputation of this show any further. God's sake, man. I thought I was bad, but I mean, you know.
I'll do a quick would you rather, and they're pretty short and sweet today.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't involve some very, very taboo subject of.
Yeah, would you rather dictatorship or democracy?
Oh, Babar. Any day, I would prefer dictatorship. Now, if you look at all the dictatorships in the world, the common theme at the moment with them whether it's the Middle East or the Far East or any of these oppressive regimes, the common theme is that the average person is doing pretty all right and gets looked after quite well. As long as you're not a black or brown immigrant worker, you can, if you as long as you're a native of these countries and you toe the line and you just turn a blind eye to various oppressive factors, you can have a really nice life. Whereas in a democracy, everything's fucked, Babar. You know why? Because the average person is stupid and the average person has a vote that is.
Yeah, you see, now there's a reason why I chose these two, because I knew you'd have something to say about it. A bit of a yawn that was, but anyway, moving on to the next. Would you rather PGA or PG tips?
Okay, so this is about the golf being taken over by one of these regimes that we've mentioned. So there's
got a nice little tedious link going on the
so there's a new golf tour which is funded by Saudi Arabia, which is trying to lure players away from the regular PGA tour, the European tour that has been going for decades and decades. In some cases, probably a good century or so of this.
We discussed this earlier today, and what was your comment? You said
my comment was that this is kind of a little bit like what happened in football, whereby you have some new leagues or some new initiatives tempting players that have a certain profile but maybe aren't competitive anymore to come over, play for the money, and then slowly grow their reputation from there. MLS did it. China is trying to do it. I think they tried to do it with a Super League, which didn't in the end work, but they might, get that in through the back door. So yeah, Barbara. So what was it, PGA or PG tips? Well, I don't drink tea, so it'll have to be PGA, Barbara. But I'm very shit at golf, so I can maybe be a caddy and get like 10% off the
Never mind. You can't beat a good old PG tips. A brew, good old brew, any day of the week for me.
Do you remember those adverts with the monkeys? They were really good.
I do.
I don't know if that would be ethically allowed anymore, because presumably they beat the shit out of the monkeys in order to make them act properly, isn't it? They used to do stuff like that, didn't they, Barbara? To get the animals to act properly.
Fucking sip that tea, you.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, it's like horse racing. If you look at videos of horse racing from a few decades ago, they were just beating the shit out of horses, really. That's all that was happening.
Yeah, that was it, really. I mean, can you imagine Michael Jackson apparently Michael Jackson used to beat Bubbles, apparently, so...
Well, I mean, look, think about it. It's going to be very, very difficult to get a monkey to behave using purely linguistic negotiation tactics. So at some point, if you're going to do the injustice to the monkey of keeping it as a pet in the first place, you might as well beat the shit out of it.
Right, moving on to the next one. But for me, it's PG tips all day long.
Okay.
Would you rather Africa Bambata, Africa Rwanda?
Well, now, Africa Bambata is a very... I wish I knew what the actual proper YouTube policy was for playing clips of Yeah,
because it would be nice if you could just play that right.
It'd be nice if we could just play the Africa Bambata, one of the great tracks. It would have to be Africa Bambata. I mean, Africa Rwanda is where our parents would have been sent to if they had turned up a little bit later than they did.
So apparently this week or this month, the first batch of immigrants or refugees or whatever, however you want to group them,
have they started going?
Yeah, they're going. So I said to someone today, I said, imagine if Priti Patel's one of her garai, which means, or one of her family members comes from abroad, and they come through the illegal channels or get.
Oh yes, thinking I know someone there. Oh yeah, she'll be all right. She'll be all right. Yeah, I've heard she's quite high up.
Yeah, and apparently she then tells her to fuck off to Rwanda. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I've just sadly found out that Africa Bambata's real name is Lance Taylor, and he's American. So, it's just taken the sheen off things a bit for me.
Never mind. Bit of soul glow will bring that sheen right back up.
It will indeed, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's okay. That was all the
is that the end
for me today? That was the nice little tedious link there. Okay.
That's good, man. Your internet connection's held up well today. Anything you've done? Have you are you attached by your balls to some kind of special generator or something, or some mast? Like, what are you doing to get this internet? Because it hasn't been good the past few days.
Yeah, I've just stopped downloading those movies on LimeWire while we're streaming.
You know what? Honestly, I genuinely think that some kind of virus, because I know where you visit sort of in the evenings. I mean, some kind of virus is just using your internet connection to mine some shit coin of some kind. and this is the isn't it? It's just you probably got loads of bandwidth, but it's just not being used to the
Yeah,
correct in the correct way.
I showed you a heat map today of my internet connectivity, so there you go.
Yeah. A lot of heat around the midriff area, I think.